As adorers, we honor the sacredness of all creation.
As prophets, we reverence Earth as a sanctuary where all life is protected. As advocates of Earth, we choose simple lifestyles that avoid excessive or harmful use of natural resources. With these words, the adorers of the blood of Christ proclaim their faith-based commitment to environmental justice as expressed in their 2005 land ethic. The Adorers of the Blood of Christ are an international community of Roman Catholic women founded in 1834. In 1925, they established a ministry in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where their daily rhythm was rooted in a deep connection to the rich farmland that sustained their community. The Adorers' religious practice includes intentionally using and protecting their own land in a way that does not harm the earth. They are well aware that being forced to use their own land for a 42-inch fossil fuel pipeline will directly exacerbate the global climate crisis we now face. Indeed, Pope Francis, in his recent encyclical entitled Laudato Si', identifies climate change as, quote, one of the principal challenges facing humanity in our day, end quote. He specifically identifies the intensive use of fossil fuels as a primary driver of global warming. In the end, Francis insists that addressing climate change is a moral and spiritual imperative for Catholics, due in part to the disproportionate harm that global warming is already having and will continue to have on the world's poorest, most vulnerable populations. The Adorers have a proven track record of defending the environment on religious principle. For the past 8 years, Adorers ministering in Guatemala have prayed and marched alongside local villagers to stop a dangerous gold mining operation that threatened their water, air, health, and safety. These efforts included nonviolent human blockades that were at times met with police brutality. Yet they persisted, and to this day, the mining operation remains at a standstill. Most recently, the sisters have been engaged in a struggle for environmental justice right here in Pennsylvania. 3 years ago, the Oklahoma-based company Williams Transco announced plans to install a large-scale, high-pressure fracked gas export pipeline through the sisters' Lancaster County farmland. Citing their religious opposition to fracking and any expansion of climate-altering fossil fuels, the Adorers refused to sign a lease and vowed to resist the project on religious principle. However, Williams ignored the religious objections of the sisters and pushed ahead with their plans. In the summer of 2017, local supporters of the Adorers joined the sisters in building a rustic outdoor chapel on their land, right at the edge of the proposed pipeline corridor, to serve as a tangible expression of their belief in the sacredness of the earth. When Williams learned of the chapel, they filed an emergency motion in U.S. District Court seeking immediate possession of the sisters' farmland in the hope of dismantling the sacred structure. They also requested authority to mobilize armed U.S. Marshals to prevent the dedication of this chapel on the Adorers' own land. The motion was denied. In a powerful demonstration of solidarity with the sisters, more than 300 people of faith took part in a moving outdoor prayer service to dedicate that chapel and defend the sisters' free exercise of religious expression. From that point on, the chapel became a site of faith-filled resistance to corporate exploitation of the earth. All through the fall and summer, weekly vigils were held by a variety of faith traditions. The Sisters' Chapel, along with their struggle to defend their long-held religious values, gained national and even international media attention, from CNN to the Washington Post, and from Philadelphia Inquirer to the BBC. When Williams still refused to honor the sisters' objections, the Adorers filed a federal civil rights lawsuit to prevent the forced installation of this pipeline on their land. The challenge invokes the Religious Freedom Restoration Act in an effort to honor the order's deeply held religious convictions. Even with their lawsuit still making its way through the courts, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission granted Williams the power of eminent domain to begin construction on the sisters' land. In a flagrant display of contempt for the order's religious freedom claim, Williams altered their own work schedule in order to begin pipeline construction on the sisters' property before pipeline installation began anywhere else in the county. The sisters sought an emergency stay on construction until their case was fully considered by the courts. That request was denied. The very next workday, Williams was unloading excavators on the sisters' Lancaster County farmland. That equipment was met by nearly 100 friends of the sisters who stood in their way, hand in hand, with songs and prayers on their lips. U.S. Marshals, State police and several local police forces were on site to enforce Williams' decision to trample on the convictions of this religious community. Before the day was over, portions of the Sisters' Chapel were forcibly dismantled. In addition, 23 peaceful women, men, elders, and children, ranging in age from 16 to 86, were arrested, handcuffed, and taken to county prison for courageously defending the sisters' religious rights. 2 weeks later, 6 more community members were arrested on the land in peaceful solidarity with the sisters, including an elderly Catholic priest. The contempt that Williams has shown toward this community of Roman Catholic women is exactly why Congress enacted the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The adorers invite people of goodwill from all faith traditions to join them in their ongoing struggle to protect the sacred, to defend the earth, and to persevere in the divine imperative of environmental justice.